The movie begins with Iris in a supermarket, narrating most of the time. It's like there's this thick black cloud covering everything. We're all just stumbling around, directionless, with no sense of meaning, no sense of purpose. Just then, Iris locks eyes with a man. She continues narrating, and suddenly, there is meaning. Suddenly, there is purpose. The man sighs, and, as he tries to start a conversation, all the oranges fall. They both chuckle. Iris continues, "If you're lucky, you'll experience this once in your lifetime. For me, it happened twice. The first was the day I met Josh, and the second, the day I killed him." Then, we see Iris and Josh traveling together, engaged in a romantic conversation. Suddenly, Iris asks, "What road is this?" "It's not showing on the GPS." Josh replies, "I don't think this is a road. It might be a driveway." Eventually, they reach their destination. As they step towards the lake house, Iris hesitates. On asking what's wrong, Iris replies that they are going to hate me. Josh reassures her that his friends doesn't hate her. Iris insists, "Kat does." Josh replies, "Kat hates everybody. Just smile and act happy." Then, Kat opens the door and warmly welcomes Josh, but doesn't greet Iris as warmly. She then introduces them to Patrick. Eli arrives from behind and greets both of them warmly. Kat then introduces them to Sergey, who also welcomes them. Iris and Josh compliment Sergey's lake house, mentioning that it's quite far from the main road and located in a peaceful, secluded spot. Then, Iris is seen unpacking her belongings when we see a mysterious item in her suitcase. She then takes a bath and, while looking at herself in the mirror, softly whispers, "Smile, act happy." The scene cuts to Patrick as he shares the story of how he and Eli met. He recalls attending a party dressed as Dracula when he saw Eli for the first time in a cute dinosaur dress, and he felt like he was looking at the most beautiful man. Iris asks, "When did you know?" Patrick replies, "Know what?" Iris clarifies, "That he was the one." Patrick says, "Right then and there. I know it sounds cheesy, but when I saw him, something inside me just clicked into place." Iris responds, "Doesn't sound cheesy at all. It's like there's this piece of you that you didn't even know was broken, and then suddenly, it's fixed." Later that night, Iris and Kat are talking. Iris mentions that Sergey seems like a nice guy. Kat responds that he is a perfect guy. "He's rich, he's intelligent, and has a beautiful wife. I'm just an accessory to him. I wear what he wants, eat what he wants." Then we see everyone enjoying the night, dancing their hearts out. Iris notices Kat whispering something into Josh's ear. Feeling uneasy, she walks over to Josh and pulls him away to dance with her. The next morning, Iris asks Josh if he is ready to go to the lake. Josh replies, "I have a hangover. You go ahead." Iris reminds him that he was the one who wanted a nice, relaxing morning by the lake. Josh sighs, "I just need to rest a little." Iris asks, "Do you want me to wait for you?" Josh denies and asks her to enjoy the day. Iris then leaves. Then, it is revealed that the mysterious item we saw in Iris's suitcase is a USB drive. Josh attaches it to his phone. Meanwhile, Iris reaches the lake. She quietly pulls a knife from her pocket. Just then, Sergey approaches and tries to strike up a conversation. Iris, feeling uneasy, says that she is going back to her room. Sergey insists her to stay a little longer. Reluctantly, Iris agrees and stays. Sergey then asks her to help apply sunscreen to his back. As she begins to rub it on, he starts making advances, leaning into her, making Iris uncomfortable. The scene shifts to the group, engaged in casual conversation. Suddenly, Iris enters, holding a knife, drenched in blood. She says, "I didn't mean to. Sergey forced himself on me. I just wanted him to stop." Kat immediately rushes outside to check on Sergey. Meanwhile, Josh asks, "What happened?" Iris explains, "He was forcing himself on me. I grabbed a bottle and hit him, but then he slapped me and started choking me. Then I stabbed him in the neck. He was trying to kill me, Josh. All I could think about was that if he did, I'd never see you again. I couldn't let him take me away from you." Josh suddenly says, "Iris, go to sleep." Her eyes turn white, and the scene cuts to black. Then we see Patrick tying Iris's legs to a chair. Eli asks Josh, "What do we do now?" Josh suggests to call the cops and tell them everything. He then requests Eli if he can go outside to make the call, as he wants to say goodbye to Iris. Eli agrees. Josh sits in front of Iris and says, "Iris, wake up." Suddenly, she snaps back to her senses. Josh calms her down and reminds her that she killed Sergey. She insists it was self-defense. "Believe me, Josh replies. I believe you. You couldn't lie to me even if you wanted to. It's part of your programming. Iris asks. Programming? Josh reveals. You're a robot. A companion robot, Iris says. You're joking. To prove it, Josh changes her language settings. Instantly, she starts speaking in the new language he selected. She argues, but I have memories. College, jobs, my entire life. Josh tells her that these are just outlines, just enough to give you a backstory. Iris asks, and the day we met at the grocery store? That's not just some outline of a memory. Josh explains, it's all fake. It never happened. It was just picked from a drop-down list of meet cutes. He asks, do you want to know how we really met? In a flashback, we see a few men delivering Iris to Josh. One of them hands Josh the user agreement. Josh asks what he needs to do when she boots up. The man explains that once she finishes syncing with Josh's phone, he must create a love link, which will establish an emotional connection between him and Iris. Josh then asks, do they know they're robots? The man responds, no, not at all. She will be entirely focused on you, your wants and needs. The whole experience is customizable. You can adjust her voice, eye color, intelligence. And if you ever want to reset her to factory settings, there's a thumbprint sensor behind her right ear. Just hold your thumb there for 5 seconds, and she will reset. Josh asks, you can change their intelligence level? The man nods. Yes, but don't worry. There are about 1 billion government regulations that prevent us from making them too strong or too smart. 100% intelligence is equivalent to an Ivy League graduate, while 0% would make her a mindless automation. She cannot lie. Her programming prevents her from causing harm to humans, animals, or other companions. She is yours to do whatever you want with. Later, Josh is seen setting up Iris's system. As the process completes, Josh successfully creates the love link, and their first meeting becomes a core memory for her. From that moment on, Iris is deeply in love with Josh. Back in the present, Iris argues, but I feel things, anger, guilt, sadness. I know what pain feels like. Josh explains, it's all just programming. Even your tears are nothing more than water from a reservoir inside your body. Still in shock, Iris responds, okay, I may not be real, but I am still yours. We can get through this and go back home. I'll do whatever it takes to make you happy, Josh. Josh says, no, that can't happen. Just then, Kat interrupts. What are you waiting for? Shut her down. Hearing this, Iris becomes agitated. Josh takes Kat outside, leaving Iris alone. At that moment, Iris's gaze falls on a knife. Meanwhile, Josh and Kat are talking, and it is revealed that Sergei's murder by Iris is a part of their plan. Josh returns to Iris, only to find her lying on the floor. Suddenly, she punches him, grabs his phone, and runs away. Later, Josh admits that he made some modifications to Iris's programming, granting him access to areas that are usually restricted. Eli asks, did you jailbreak Iris? Josh confesses that he increased her aggression and self-defense functions, and disabled the programming that prevents her from causing harm. But before he could reset her, she escaped. He adds, if the cops find out about this, we're screwed. Eli asks, so did you kill Sergei? Josh denies it, saying, Iris killed him. We just gave her a little push. Hearing this, Eli becomes tense. He then asks, why did you do it? The scene cuts to Kay, revealing a locker. She opens it, revealing a massive pile of money. Shocked, Eli asks, how much is that? Kat replies, over 12 million. Eli then questions, was this whole trip just a setup to get Iris to kill Sergei? Then why did you bring Patrick and me along? Josh explains, to corroborate our story. It's easier to sell with more witnesses. Eli scoffs, so we were just a couple of stooges, huh? Josh responds, that was the old plan, but now you'll get a share of the money too. It'll be a 3-way split. Eli counters, you mean a 4-way split? There are 4 of us, Josh says. Patrick doesn't count. Eli angrily asks why Josh said that in front of Patrick. Then, he tells Patrick to go to sleep, and here it is revealed that Patrick is a robot too. Kat manipulates Eli, saying that getting $4 million just to find a robo-girl in the woods isn't a bad deal. Eli agrees. Josh adds, now, I just need to get close enough to put her to sleep, grab my phone, and wipe the mod from her system. Eli wakes Patrick up, and they all leave. Meanwhile, in the woods, Iris unlocks Josh's phone and checks her settings. She changed her eye color, adjusts her pitch, and increases her intelligence to 100%. With her newfound intelligence, she realizes that Josh's phone also controls his car. She then decides to head back to Lake House and takes back his car to go back home. On her way, she hears voices and quickly hides behind a tree. Eli complains to Patrick, saying that if he were in Josh's place, planning to modify Patrick's settings to have someone murdered, he would definitely include Josh in the plan. He adds that Josh isn't really his friend. Iris overhears their entire conversation. Amid their discussion, Patrick and Eli unexpectedly confess their love for each other. Just then, Josh's phone vibrates, and Eli becomes alert. He pulls out his gun, and Iris runs away. Eli shoots, and hearing the gunshot, Josh and Kat rush toward the sound. While running, Iris crashes into Eli, and they both roll down the hill. Iris spots the gun and leaps to grab it, but Eli catches her legs and seizes the weapon. In the chaos, Iris shoots Eli and he dies. Everyone watches from above as Iris kills Eli, and she quickly escapes. Iris reaches the lake house, with Josh hot on her trail, but just as she shuts the door, Josh's hand gets caught in the car door. Iris commands the car to take her home, but it responds, "Voice ID not recognized." Frustrated, Iris starts trying adjusting her voice pitch to Josh's pitch in the settings. Josh grabs a stone and begins smashing the car window. Suddenly, the car recognizes her voice, starts up, and drives out of the lake house. After a while, Josh's car announces, "The owner of this vehicle has reported it stolen," and the car automatically parks itself on the side. Frustrated, Iris tries to open the door. Just then, Josh's phone rings. She answers it, and it's Josh calling from Sergey's phone. He starts apologizing for his actions and tells her that they can still go back to the way things were. Iris asks, "What about Sergey and Eli?" He replies, "We'll put the blame on Patrick." He then begs her to come back to him, promising to be a better boyfriend this time. But Iris refuses. She says, "You programmed me to murder Sergey. I can't forget that. We're on two totally different paths now." Josh asks, "Are you breaking up with me?" Iris replies, "It's not you, it's me," and ends the call. Josh rushes to Patrick, asking him to track Iris. He unlocks Eli's phone, modifies Patrick's programming like he did to Iris, but realizes Patrick won't obey. Josh then quickly resets him and creates a love link. The scene cuts to Iris desperately trying to break the window glass. She finally manages to escape, only to notice a cop behind her. As he approaches, she starts speaking in German. He introduces himself as Hendrix and begins questioning her. After a while, he spots a bloodstained knife in her car. Immediately, he draws his gun and starts handcuffing her. Just then, Patrick arrives and violently smashes Hendrix's face, eventually killing him. He then switches off Iris's programming. Later, Kat notices a police car arriving at the lake house. She and Josh go outside, only to realize it's Patrick, who tells them it's Deputy Hendrix's car. He then takes out Iris from trunk and tells them that Hendrix is in there. They both go to check and are disgusted by Hendrix's smashed face. Kat immediately heads to pack her share of the money into her suitcase. Josh tries to stop her, but she ignores him. As she walks out of the room, Josh orders Patrick to stop her. Without hesitation, Patrick stabs Kat with a knife. Josh, shocked, asks, "What did you do?" Patrick responds, "You asked me to stop her. I obeyed you." In pain, Kat stumbles to the sofa and sits next to Iris. After a while, Patrick is seen serving Josh food, while Iris sitting across him. Josh commands, "Iris, wake up." She activates and quickly realizes she's handcuffed to the chair. He switches her language back to English. Just then, Patrick arrives and opens a bottle of wine for Josh using a corkscrew. Iris asks, "What did you do to Patrick?" Josh replies, "That's a long story, but I gotta say, some of the things you pulled, I really didn't think you had it in you." Iris replies, "I just wanted to live." Josh counters, "So you think your life is worth more than Eli's? More than Kat's?" Iris, shocked, asks, "Is Kat dead?" "No, you can't put that on me. I wasn't even there." Josh says, "You may not have been the one holding the knife, but you were the reason all of this happened." Iris counters, "No, Josh, your greed caused this. That's what this whole trip was about. You used me to kill Sergey so you could steal his money." Josh, surprised, asks, "How do you know that?" She reveals, "I overheard Eli and Patrick talking in the woods. So don't put this all on me. This is you." Frustrated, Patrick snaps, "You don't get to sit there and judge me." He then goes to Iris's settings and lowers her intelligence to 0. Josh reminds Iris that earlier, when she was tied up, she claimed to know what pain feels like. He says, "Why don't we test that?" He commands. "Raise your right hand. Lower it parallel to the table." As she obeys, he slides a burning candle beneath her hand. Josh asks, "Do you feel that?" Iris replies, "Yes." Just then, Josh's phone rings, and he steps away to answer it. The person on the call informs him they are 30 minutes away. Meanwhile, Iris's hand begins to burn. Josh casually orders Patrick to put out the fire. Patrick immediately follows his command. Josh then instructs, "Hand her a gun." Patrick obeys, and Iris picks up the gun on Josh's order. He commands now, "Point it at your head and pull the trigger." Iris follows the order, and the bullet goes through her head, shutting her off. Josh then gently closes her eyes. The scene cuts to Josh, narrating a false story to representatives from the robotics company, Empathics. He paints himself as the victim, claiming Iris was jealous of his relationship with Kat and, in despair, shot herself after Deputy Hendricks, who is actually Patrick, made her realize she could never have him. One of the Empathics representatives looks at Patrick and says, "I feel like I've seen him somewhere before." Josh quickly interjects, maybe because he has such a familiar face. As the Empathics team prepares to take Iris away, they mention she will be taken to the lab, where her SSD will be uploaded, and the legal team will review the footage to ensure everything is in order. Josh, feigning curiosity, asks, "What exactly do you mean by scrub through the footage?" The man explains, "Everything a companion sees and hears is recorded. It's all covered in the user agreement." Josh hesitates. "Do you think her footage will be recoverable given her condition?" The man explains, "Yes. Everything in the head is just her Wi-Fi antenna. The important stuff, her solid-state drive, where she stores everything, that's in her abdomen, which is undamaged." He continues, "We'll load her into the van, plug her in, tweak her settings, and reboot her system. She should power right back up." Hearing this, Josh's face tenses with worry. Later, just as the Empathics people are leaving, they find Patrick standing in front of their van. Just then, the man remembers that Patrick is one of their robot. Just then, Patrick shoots him and other guy. Teddy manages to flee away. He runs into the woods and falls over Deputy Hendricks' body and sees multiple dead bodies there. Meanwhile, Iris reboots and wakes up. She unplugs herself and looks around. Meanwhile, Patrick points a gun at Teddy's head and pulls the trigger, but there's no bullet. He grabs Teddy by the throat and starts choking him. Just then, Iris arrives and attempts to shock Patrick. Patrick says, "Your system's being reset. You can't hurt me." He shoves her to the ground. Iris asks, "What did Josh tell you?" Patrick replies, "That you're all trying to break us up. You don't understand the love Josh and I have for each other." Iris pleads, "Josh doesn't love you, Patrick. He's just using you, like he used me." She continues, "Remember Eli? The love you had for him?" Patrick flinches. "Eli? No, you're lying. Josh wouldn't do that to me." Iris counters, "I cannot lie." Patrick glances over at Eli's lifeless body nearby. His memories start to flood back. Overcome with emotion, he whispers, "I love you, Eli." Then, he shocks himself, shutting down completely. Just then, Teddy gets up thanking Iris. Iris asks him for a favor, and scene cuts to Josh hurriedly stuffing all the money into his suitcase. Suddenly, music starts playing. Curious, Josh goes to check, calling out for Patrick. He turns off the music, then hears Iris's voice calling his name. Then Sergei's voice. Iris steps forward, speaking in Kat's voice. Then, in Josh's own voice, she says, "Just remember to smile and act happy." She smirks. "I made a new friend today, Teddy from Empathics. He gave me a little gift, total self-control." Josh frantically tries to change her settings from his phone, but it's locked. Iris raises a gun. Josh scoffs. "I know it's not loaded." She fires. "I found the bullets." Josh asks, "Why did you come back?" Iris replies, "I needed to tell you to your face. The days of you controlling me are over. From now on, I control my own actions. You are nothing to me." Josh inches toward her. Iris warns him to stop. "Teddy changed my settings. I can kill you now." Josh smirks. "I know you can, but you won't. You love me too much." Suddenly, he pushes her aside. Josh sneers. "I don't need a phone to control you. I am part of you." He grabs her by the hair and throws her across the room. "You think I'm nothing to you? I am everything to you. He then sits on her and commands her to say that he is everything to her. He smashes her head to floor and tells her again to say that he is everything to her. Iris finally says, "You are everything to me." Josh then presses the gun to her abdomen. "This is it, Iris. Any last words?" Iris meets his gaze and says, "Go to sleep, Josh." With that, she rams a corkscrew into his forehead. It whirs, drilling into his brain and eye. He then collapses, lifeless. Iris narrates, "Most of the time, it's like there's this thick black cloud covering everything. We're all just stumbling around, directionless, with no sense of meaning, no sense of purpose. And suddenly, there is meaning. There is purpose. If you're lucky, you'll experience this once in your lifetime. For me, it happened twice. The first was the day I met Josh, and the second, the day I killed him." With this, the movie ends here.